Well, as you can see, I have on a short wig. I know I look better with short hair. It's that the wig has the body and the the massive hair that makes it do good. When I cut my own hair this short, it's sort of limp and fine, and it doesn't do this well without volume. So it's a toss up. But I know I look better with short, thick, all one color looking cute hair. So I have it on today because I was at a loss about my own. Um, I was thinking last night about my two sons. I am so glad I was born a girl. I am so glad. When I think about what men have to be and what men have to do, I'm just blown away. I could never saw a limb or change a tire or work a wheelbarrow or climb a tree and cut a limb off or fix a garbage disposal or it's and then to think that they have to be educated enough to raise a family. They have to be able to finance a family. They have to be able to buy a home and a car and groceries and clothes and insurance and taxes. And it's just a lot that a man has to do or a man is expected to do. There are women who work, I know, and men who stay home and keep the babies and cook and all of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I raised my sons on the road and homeschooled them. We went through the Calvert School of Missions, which is a boarding and correspondence school in Baltimore, Maryland. And it's designed for international students who travel all the time. And it was a very good school. And then for high school, we went to the University of Nebraska High School, which is also available for correspondence. And in those days, we did not have computers or cell phones. We did the educating that we did by cassette tape and actual mail and telephone. And the telephone was very rare because, they were dealing with students from all over the world, and telephones were not free like they are now. I mean, the long distance calls were expensive in those days. But my boys virtually, I would hand them the lesson and they virtually taught themselves. And they studied art, they studied music. And when it came time for Rick to study chemistry and physics, he went to Marion Military Academy in Alabama and studied those two courses because I was afraid I'd blow up the bus, and I didn't know anything about either one of them anyway. And they had math tutors in churches where we were because I'm a dropout where that is concerned. So their education was, I told them not long ago, I said, I really did not do anything for you guys in that regard. I just sort of put you out there to the public and made you or asked you to sing and play. And they loved that and they did that well and they still do that well and they still do that. But they also support their families and are loving and generous to their children and grandchildren. One has 4 grandchildren and one has 5. And it's just, no, excuse me. One has 3 and one has 5. I knew I had 8. I was trying to figure out how many I have. Great-grandchildren. And I'm glad I'm a girl because I like the girl things. And I'm glad God made me that way. I like to cook and I like to make things pretty and make a nest and take care of clothes and, you know, the aesthetics of life. But I've worked hard all my life and I enjoy work too when I feel like it, you know. As you get older, sometimes you have to slow down on that work. But I heard a girl last night at Gospel sing so wonderfully. And she said before she sang that she had not sung a lot and lately. And so after she sang and we had intermission, I wheeled myself over to her and gave her a talking to. I said, with a voice like that, you don't ever need to back up from singing. You keep singing. And the older you get, the better you'll like it, and the more people will be blessed because you are singing. So she said I was very kind. She was very humble about it all, but she really had a good, beautiful voice, and I wanted to see her go with it, you know, and be more active as a singer. I feel like whatever you can do that you do for the Lord, you ought to do it with all your heart and all your might and all your soul. And, you know, it's just, it's a wonderful thing to think that God created us in his own image and that he created male and female. And we're very different. Most people, you know, most people are very different. I know some tomboy girls that are still tomboys. But most girls are girly and most guys are guys. And I think it's so wonderful that the Lord fixed it so we were different and yet attracted to one another to the point that we could intermingle and make other human beings. That's been a blessing in my life. I was so thrilled to be able to have 2 children. I'm Rh negative and my husband was Rh positive, and we were not to have but two children. But those 2 have been such a blessing in my life, and I'm so grateful that God created them male and me female. God bless you today.